Thank you for checking out this special presentation of Lone Star Internet Radio's podcast. Lone Star Internet Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station. This podcast is a recording of the 2016 Montgomery County Primary Candidate Forum, broadcasted live from the Crichton Theater in downtown Conroe. This following podcast covers the 410 District Court Judge candidates. Before we get to the candidate presentation, please take a moment and hear a word from a title sponsor of Lone Star Internet Radio, the Spirit of Texas Bank.
Owning a business means lots of things, including accepting every decision ultimately is your responsibility. The ups and downs, rewards and setbacks come with the territory. Spirit of Texas Bank understands. We started out with a dream too and chose the best place on earth to do business, Texas. To say we have a special understanding of the Texas spirit toward business isn't bragging, it's a fact, and it's our name. It doesn't matter if your office is the dash of your truck or the executive suite. Every day you need a bank. A place to put your profits, get your loans, process your payroll, expand, grow, buy, and plan your next move. You don't need excuses from a bank. You need understanding and fast action. Spirit of Texas Bank. All across Texas and now with locations in Conroe, the Woodlands, Magnolia, and Tomball. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
410th State District Court Judge, you have 1 minute intro. Mrs. Robin, you can start.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Jennifer James Robin, and I've been an associate judge of a district court for the past 5 years. And I'm here tonight asking for your vote to make me your next judge of the 410th District Court. I was in private practice for 10 years prior to my appointment as the associate judge of the 418th District Court. I am one of only 12 attorneys in all of Montgomery County that is board certified in family law, and I've held that certification since 2007. Only 10% of all the attorneys in the state of Texas have a board certification, and I'm part of that elite group. I have been presiding over jury and bench trials for the last 5 years, and I have never been reversed on appeal. I'm the only candidate in this race that has a board certification, the only candidate in this race that has 5 years of judicial experience, the only candidate that has experience in handling an efficient court docket, and the only one with a proven and pristine judicial track record. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to you this evening. My name is Chuck Meyer, and I also am seeking your vote for the 410th Judicial District Court. I come from a different background than my opponents. I'm an assistant district attorney in Hardin County on a part-time basis, and I'm also a technology lawyer and a small business counselor in the South County. My resume includes a stint with a large international law firm, where I was a bankruptcy associate as well as a patent attorney. I also was the chief legal officer of Research in Motion. You probably know it by the name BlackBerry. I also went from the legal side of BlackBerry to be the business head of BlackBerry Europe. So I come to the bench with not only legal expertise, but business expertise. My interest in this bench is to help Judge Wood out with the massive civil docket that we have here in this county. We have 4 judges at the county level. Oh, man, that was quick. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Bays.
Thank you. We have a backlog of cases, an overcrowded jail, and we're spending way too much money on it. And that's got to stop. And I'm going to stop it. My name is Kristen Bays, and that's why I'm running for judge of the 410th District Court. I intend to use my 22 years of experience, education, skill, knowledge, know-how, and work ethic to take care of the problem of backlog that's breaking the taxpayers' backs. The 410th District Court is designed to be a court for we the people of Montgomery County. It's multi-jurisdictional and it handles all types of cases, family, civil, and criminal. You need a judge who can get in there and get the job done and handle that docket effectively, efficiently, and economically. And economically means taking care of those cases. Did you know that we have 700 people sitting over at the Montgomery County Jail at a cost of $35,000 a day waiting for their cases to go to trial? That's got to stop. When you go to vote for the judge of the 410th, vote for fiscal responsibility, conservative values, and swift justice by voting for Kristen Bays.
Thank you. Okay, first question, Mr. Meyer, we'll start with you. Discuss your view of proper judicial temperament.
Thank you very much for that question. It's something I feel very passionately about. I am a strict constructionist, constitutional conservative. I believe the Constitution was written for the eternity, and that unless we amend the Constitution, the plain words of the Constitution should govern the decisions. And I'm not just talking about the U.S. Constitution, I'm also talking about our Texas Constitution. Proper interpretation of statutes means that you look at the plain language of the statute. If you cannot discern what the law is from the plain language of the statute, then you go to the legislative history, and you make a determination from the legislative history as to what the law is. I am not an activist judge. I'm not someone who will substitute my own judgment for what the law should be for what the law is. I will adhere to strict canons of statutory interpretation, which mainly means that I will be diligent in ascertaining and having the discernment to know what our Constitution of the United States and of the great state of Texas guides us to do when interpreting statutes.
Thank you. Ms. Bays?
Temperament really refers to two things, I think. One is how you treat people in your courtroom, and that will always be with respect, with dignity, with warmth. People are scared when they go in front of a judge, and with good reason. I mean, judges have a lot of power. They can take away your property, your kids, your home, your life. It's never going to be a not scary experience, but it's important for a judge to let people know that their fears shouldn't be a reason for them not to speak. They have a right to be heard, and they need to know that they've got a judge who will hear them, and that's me. But as Mr. Meyer pointed out, it also relates to how you make decisions. The great thing about the rule of law is it's written down for us. So it's really a matter of reading what the law is, applying it to the facts of the case, and making a decision, making it fast to clear up that backlog. I have the right temperament for this job, and that's what retired Supreme Court Justice Scott Brister said when he said that my intelligence, demeanor, and grace under pressure make me an ideal candidate for judge.
Thank you. Ms. Robin?
Thank you. When the associate judge position opened up for the 418th District Court, I didn't go to Judge Gilbert. Judge Gilbert came to me and offered me the job. And he told me he offered me the job because I had the expertise and the experience and primarily the temperament for the job. And anyone that's been in my courtroom would know, and if you go around and ask the lawyers whether they like my decisions or not, they know I treat them with kindness and respect. And I think that's what's so important for a judge to have in terms of temperament. As far as following the law as written, again, I'm the only one up here that has a judicial track record, and I do follow the law as written. I've never been reversed on appeal, and I think both of those things are important as part of temperament for a judicial position.
Thank you. Ms. Bays, the next question will start with you.
Okay.
The 410th Court handles felony cases, civil cases, and family law cases. Should the court be specialized? If so, in what area and why? If not, how would you prioritize criminal and civil cases?
The court absolutely should not be specialized. This is a court for we the people. The legislature set it up, and they said it's going to handle the three types of cases you described, Mr. Dubois. That's what it needs to be, because it needs to be responsive to the needs of Montgomery County. If we try to specialize it because we prefer one area of the law over the other, then there are cases that get neglected. For example, if we turned it into a family court, our civil backlog, our criminal backlog would get far worse. So how would I prioritize those cases? Folks that are sitting in jail waiting on trial, they get to move up to the head of the line. Let's get them out. If they're acquitted, they get to go home. If they're convicted, then they become a problem of the Texas Department of Corrections. Either way, they're off your payroll. Those are important cases that have to be handled, and they have to be handled expeditiously. But the civil cases would not be neglected. We need help with those. We have a specialized 284th District Court that is buried, and it's taking 3 and 4 years to get those cases to trial. That's got to stop. I plan to stop it.
Thank you. Ms. Robin?
The 410th District Court is the only court that's left out of all 12 of the courts in this county that is not specialized. And The problem with that is that court hears felony cases 1 week out of the month. So all the other weeks, while all the other dedicated felony courts hear felony trials, the 410th doesn't move its cases. So what that translates into is a 71% disposition rate in the 410th on the criminal cases compared to 91% in the other dedicated felony courts. That is a problem, and I agree that it is costing taxpayers money. In fact, in the 410th District Court right now, 177 cases, felony cases, are over a year old, and 120 are over 2 years old. That has cost you $2,171,750 in tax money to house for those 2 years for those inmates. That's a problem. This court should be specialized as civil and family.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer?
Under the Texas Constitution, the district courts are courts of general jurisdiction, period. And I'm quite frankly surprised that my opponent insists these are specialized courts. They're specialized courts because the judges of this county have agreed to parse out into various dockets, according to expertise, what type of cases they are most comfortable with. Judge Wood happens to be the only full-time civil law judge on the district court bench, and she's overwhelmed. As my learned opponent to my left said, we need to address the backlog in the civil court. It's not Judge Wood's fault. It's the fault of the fact that judges don't want to take civil cases. They either want to take criminal cases or family law cases. And I'll repeat what I said before. There are 4 judicial officers who handle family law cases. That's a high percentage of the judicial officers. We need more judges that can handle criminal cases. And let me remind you, I'm the only candidate, I believe, that's an existing prosecutor. And we need more judges that can handle civil cases. Thank you.
Andy, do I get to rebut?
Yes, both opponents have been called out, so each one will get a 30-second rebuttal.
May I start?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Robin?
So first of all, my opponent has never had tried a case ever in Montgomery County, and I question how much he really knows about what the needs of these courts are. I will point out that in Montgomery County, in the 410th District Court, 40% of its cases are family law cases. That's 880 cases pending that are family law. 36% are civil. Anything over that on the felony cases, as I've already described, has been a backlog to our courts, and it's costing this county money.
Thank you. Ms. Bays, would you like a rebuttal?
I'm not an existing prosecutor, but I've handled criminal cases. And I've handled lots of civil cases that have criminal overtones, including a landmark case from the Texas Supreme Court involving forgery from a local car dealership. I understand the nature of handling criminal cases, and I can tell you that Justice Scalia actually had exactly 0 criminal experience when he decided to become and was appointed to become a Supreme Court justice, and I think he's doing okay.
Thank you. The next question will start with Ms. Robin. How would you improve the administration of the court or make it more efficient?
So I chose to run for this court because there were problems, there were policies and procedures in this court that were causing it to have inefficiencies and causing taxpayers money. Some of the things that I would do, first of all, I would have a docket every single day, a full docket every single day, and I would work full work days. Secondly, I believe that by making it a specialized civil and family court, that we can move these criminal cases faster and get these criminals, keep them from sitting in jail for 2 years. And so that's some of the ways that I would move things. In addition, one of the things that the 410th won't do right now, the 410th won't take any of the reopened family law cases. And what I mean by that, and you probably have had this before, or seen it from one of your friends, but in family law, cases reopen when there's a modification. So when the court specialized in 2012, all of the other 9 courts, all of their reopened cases are going to the 4th to 18th and the CCL3. And with me, I would actually take my portion of the family law cases that are reopened by all the other 9 courts.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. How would you improve the administration of the court or make it more efficient?
There are several ways. One, greater implementation of technology. 2, I was surprised to find out when I was at the a member of the Citizens Academy of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office that only one of the district judges uses regularly the video conferencing system between the jail and the district court. And what using the video conference system can do for you is cut down on the cost of transporting criminals or criminal defendants, I should say, from the jail, and you can actually have hearings via video conference link. I've spent a lot of time talking to some of the existing judges, and paying attention to the docket figures and understanding what they mean is a very important part of efficiency. I would like to point out that I have a master's in operations research, which is the mathematics of efficiency, and I was an engineer at the Pentagon, where efficiency was very important. That was my first career as an engineer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bays?
1 minute really isn't long enough to give you my very detailed list of all the things that I would do with this court. I'll be around after. If you're interested to hear all the details, I would be happy to answer any questions. So let me give you the broad brush answer. Number one, come to work. Come to work and work a full day, every day. Be there, be present, be involved, and work hard. Number two, set deadlines for the court and stick to them. The constant resets of criminal cases, the constant continuances in civil cases bogs us down. Courts can set deadlines, but if they don't enforce them, the attorneys know the deadlines are meaningless. That's got to change. And number three, take care of the cases as the needs of the cases are. And what I mean by that is, if there are cases that need to move to the front of the line, move them. Get them going. If we have cases where we can have 2 trials in a week, let's have 2 trials in a week. Let's make this court work for you.
Thank you. Next question, Mr. Meyer. What is your view on plea bargains, and when should they or should they not be accepted?
Plea bargaining is an essential part of our justice system. You can't try every single criminal case, and it's in the discretion of the district attorney and his staff as to when plea bargains are appropriate. In the absence of unusual circumstances, I cannot foresee a judge turning down a plea bargain that has been negotiated between the district attorney's office and a criminal defendant. Only if the criminal defendant is in a position of not knowingly accepting the plea bargain, or if there are other factors that seem to indicate that the plea bargain was not in accordance with the law, that would be the only circumstances that I could see in which a plea bargain should be turned down.
Thank you. Ms. Bays?
Plea bargaining is important to keep things moving. It's important, again, when you set trials and you stick to those deadlines, everyone understands you're either going to trial or you need to plea bargain the case. And so plea bargaining becomes an important tool in clearing out a court's docket. It is a negotiated settlement. It's a contract that relates to the defendant agreeing to certain terms and certain penalties and certain fines that may be imposed. There really isn't a good reason for a judge to reject a plea bargain unless if there is some problem with the capacity of the defendant to understand what the plea bargain was, then it's a contract that's no good. If there's some issue with representation, perhaps, the defendant chose to represent themselves, they're indigent, something along those lines, then perhaps. Or if the plea bargain is just simply not appropriate for the level of the crime that was committed, then perhaps. It's hard for me to opine about a particular circumstance because it's going to be a case-by-case basis analysis. But my approach would be, if there's a plea bargain, it will be accepted unless there's a reason not to accept it, in which case it's out.
Thank you. Ms. Robin?
And just, could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. What is your view on plea bargains and when they should or should not be accepted?
Okay, so I mean, as far as when plea bargains should or should not be accepted, they should be accepted as early as possible in the whole proceeding. And as far as that's concerned, I mean, I believe that they should be accepted whenever it is proposed and whenever it would do justice for the community. The problem is that I don't think our problem in this county is a plea bargaining problem. The problem in this county is moving the cases, moving this criminal backlog. And that is what our issue is. It's not about the plea bargaining. So, I mean, as far as plea bargaining, it needs to happen early. It needs to happen early in the case, not let criminals sit there for 2 years while we pay for them to sit in jail. So it needs to happen at an early process. And again, I don't think that's really what our problem is, but that is part of it's part of the process, but it's not our problem in this county.
Thank you. To keep it moving along, now it is time for your final statement. Ms. Beige, we'll start with you.
I think you've heard what you need to hear about the 410th District Court. It shouldn't become specialized. It needs to be a court for you. It needs to be a court for us. And it needs to be a court that works for the taxpayers. That's the way I'm going to treat this court. Efficiently, effectively, and economically, at all times with the words of Mattress Mac ringing in my ear, save you money. We have constitutional objectives that have to be achieved. We have taxpayer dollars that have to be respected. You need a judge who understands those things and has the skills, the ability, the experience, the know-how, and the work ethic to take care of it. I'm the best candidate for the job.
Thank you. Ms. Robin?
When you cut through the political rhetoric, this race is about the known and the unknown. I am the known. I've been an associate judge for the past 5 years. I've been presiding over cases, and I've never been reversed on appeal. I'm the only candidate in this race that's board certified, the only one that has 5 years of judicial experience, the only one that has a perfect and pristine judicial track record, and the only one that has experience in managing an efficient court docket. You know what you're going to get with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer?
I'd like to point out a little bit about my resume that I didn't get to in the introduction. I have a graduate degree from law from the University of Oxford, England. It involved a number of areas that included restitution, which is a concept relating to damages in civil matters. I also began, after I began my career at the Pentagon as an engineer, I became a patent examiner, which is a quasi-judicial position. It's one in which you examine the inventions of others and determine whether under the law they are entitled to a patent under the United States law. I have a variety of experiences in a variety of areas. I've been an engineer, I've been a businessman, I've been a patent examiner. But most importantly, I'm a husband of a wife who I dearly love of 32 years, and I have 3 wonderful children. That's the most important. That isn't a reason to vote for me, but that's the reason why I'm running in this race, because I'm very concerned about the future of this county, not just in the political races, but in the judicial races as well. We need a civil bench in this county, and we need expertise in criminal law to handle the backlog in order that the state and criminal defendants get a speedy and efficient trial. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we'll do the 435th State District Court.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the special broadcast of the 2016 Montgomery County Primary Candidate Forum. This was an open invitation event to all candidates and was broadcasted live from the Crichton Theater. If you have any questions or comments for Lone Star Internet Radio, or you would like to sponsor Lone Star Internet Radio, please contact the station online at irlonestar.com or our Facebook page, Lone Star Internet Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station, broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas. We would also like to thank the title sponsor of Lone Star Internet Radio, the Spirit of Texas Bank, Lone Star Internet Radio, and the Spirit of Texas Bank, serving the community of Montgomery County.